Good evening and welcome to Punchline. I am Anne Kiguta and it's good to be back with you after a short break. Tonight on the program, we focus on President Kenyatta's dilemma following the advisory by the Chief Justice to dissolve Parliament. And whereas the government has headed to the courts, can any court rule against the Constitution? What does this scenario mean, not just for gender equality, but for the rule of law, the legitimacy of this administration going forward, and most certainly for politics? My guest tonight, National Gender and Equality Commissioner Honorable Priscilla Nyokabi, will be with us tonight. Mbita Member of Parliament Millie Odhiambo as well, who served on the Parliamentary Select Committee on the Constitution Review, and of course the Majority Leader in the National Assembly that should be packing, Dr. Amos Kimunya, on the show. Punchline begins now with a look at our top stories tonight.
Zile vyeti mlikuwa mnasema mtatupa wananchi wapewe.
Sasa wamesema ati hiyo huduma namba ndio itatumiwa kupiga kura ya 2022.
Political leaders hit out at the second Huduma Namba registration program, saying it's an exercise in futility.
Naona wengi wenu mnaletewa pesa, amjui imetoka wapi. Mujiulize hiyo pesa imetoka wapi.
Go to the dictionary, find the meaning of hustler. Hautawahi kujita hiyo jina katika maisha yako.
We are all hustlers. Deputy President William Ruto castigated for hoodwinking Kenyans with hustler narrative. Schools reopening. Are we ready? Kenya Medical Associations wary over a rise in second wave of COVID-19 infections. And on Punchline tonight, the president's dilemma. Should MPs go home? Thanks for joining us. The anticipated second rollout of the Huduma Namba registration exercise continues to generate suspicion among a section of leaders who say it is shrouded in opaqueness. Legislators allied to Deputy President William Ruto have now sensationally claimed that the exercise would be used to influence the outcome of the general election. This even as the DP on Sunday took his campaigns to Bungoma in Western Kenya to popularize his hustler narrative. Giverson Minor now reports.
In his bid to popularize the Hustler Nation narrative, Deputy President William Ruto and his troops on Sunday took to Bungoma County, Western Kenya. The DP, who has since declared himself as the Hustler's chief clerk, received a dramatic welcome by Bungoma residents who showed up in large numbers. Huduma Namba's second phase registration took center stage at the event where thousands trickled in to grace the interdenominational prayer service in Bumula constituency at Bumula DCC's grounds, Bungoma County.
Huduma namba 2. Nyinyi watu wa Bumula mtakubali? Na hiyo huduma namba ikiandikwa pesa zinaenda. Ati sasa wamesema ati hiyo huduma namba ndio itatumiwa kupiga kura ya 2022. Nyinyi watu wa Bumula mtafurahi, mtakubali hiyo maneno? Mimi mjumbe wa Kimilili nitaambia wananchi wa Bungoma wasusie kuchukua huduma namba nyingine. That is not a priority. Ile kitu ambayo ni ya muhimu sana saa hii ni wao wakarabati uchumi ambayo imeharibika na hii mambo ya COVID-19.
The legislators backing DP Ruto 2022 presidency, including Bumula Member of Parliament Mwambu Mabonga, Didmas Baraza, Ben Washali, Gatundu South Member of Parliament Moses Kuria, and former Kakamega Senator Boni Halwale, among others, claimed that there was a concealed intention behind the Huduma Namba registration.
Kwanza ile wale ambao tuliregister, watu milioni 7 watupatia kadi zetu tuanza kutumia. Ndio sisi tukaanza kutumia, wengine watajua maana ya kuwa na huduma na namba.
Usajili wa pili unataka kuanzishwa, na hiyo ndio pesa ya mwananchi ambayo wakati huu wa COVID wananchi wameumia, biashara zao zimeenda chini, watoto hata hawajui shule zikifunguliwa hawa wazazi watalipa karo namna gani.
Watajua hawajui ama namna gani?
The DP, while addressing his supporters in Bungoma town, told off his rivals, saying the 2022 presidency will be won by majority voters who are on his side of hustlers.
Siku nyingi mumetuambia nyinyi ndio mtapanga. Mumepanga ukabila. Mukapanga kugawana mamlaka nyinyi na watoto wenu. Safari hii hatuwezi kuwaruhusu mupange. Hawa mahasla, hawa mamamboga hawa, watu hawa makanga, hawa wabodaboda, yule wabeba, tutapanga safari hii na tutaunda serikali ya mahasla.
The Hustler Nation team father made its way out in style by surprising many when they abruptly stopped by a roadside kiosk to quench their thirst. As the Hustler Nation continues to make inroads around the country, ODM on the other side has strategized to neutralize the Ruto's campaigns by kicking off their political tours around the country to popularize the BBI initiative, which has elicited mixed reactions. Giverson Minor for Punchline.
Some more politics. Kalonzo Musyoka's Wiper Democratic Movement becomes the latest faction to announce that it will field a candidate in the Msambweni by-election. So far, there are 3 other candidates in the race, 1 from ODM and 2 independents, after Jubilee pulled out of the poll earlier in the week. While popularizing their party in the region, Wiper leaders tore into the Deputy President's Hustler campaign, saying he was hoodwinking Kenyans.
Even before the 2022 supremacy race gathers full momentum, the next battle is already in tray, with politicians lining up the machinery in readiness for the Msambweni constituency elections slated for December 15th. Jubilee had earlier in the week indicated that it would not file any candidate despite earlier opposition from the Deputy President, who says he was sidelined in the decision-making. Jubilee, through its Secretary General Raphael Tuju, had cited its memorandum of understanding with the Raila-led Orange Party as one of the reasons behind not fielding a candidate. Deputy President William Ruto has since turned his head to independent candidates, as spotted most recently showing support to Faisal Abdallah Bader. Despite earlier Wiper Jubilee engagements, the Kalonzo Wiper-led party is now saying it is going for the kill at the Msambweni by-elections.
We respect their reasons, we respect their decision. As a matter of fact, we asked Jubilee to support our candidate. If they don't have a candidate, we cannot ask our friends in ODM to support our candidate because we are in competition with them.
The leaders further took the chance to hit out at Deputy President William Ruto's campaign tag that labels him as a hustler.
Wengi wenu mnaletewa pesa, amjui imetoka wapi. Mujiulize hiyo pesa imetoka wapi. Tumekuja kwa hii kanisa, mtu mweupe kama pamba, Kalonzo Musyoka, ametoa yake kutoka kwa roho yake. Na yake amjaisikia. Hata Bishop amekili, amesema hajaimsikia mahali ametajwa.
The tag that has since put him at loggerheads with rivaling politicians, with Kotu Secretary General Francis Etwoli last week taking the Deputy President to task to explain his motive over his continuous use of the hustler tag.
You don't use the poor to go on top. You promote the poor to be where you are. You are calling yourself a hustler, and yet you are not a hustler. God cannot allow you. And then you go to the church to cheat, to lie. That's what we are saying.
Joining the list of government officials throwing jabs at Deputy President William Ruto is Transport Chief Administrative Secretary Wavinya Ndeti, who asked the youths to avoid being associated with such a tag.
Ukisema mimi ni mwizi utakuwa nini? Mwizi. Ukisema mimi ni tajiri utakuwa nini? Tajiri. Kwa hivyo nawaambia watoto wetu, our youth, and this is from my heart and I'm not taking whatever anybody said, stop calling yourselves hustlers. Go to the dictionary, find the meaning of hustler. Hautawahi kujita hiyo jina katika maisha yako.
The focus now moves to Msambweni, which most say will be a determinant in gauging how the region will cast their vote come the 2022 general election. Martin Opio for Punchline.
Well, the Kenya Medical Association is raising the alarm over the reopening of schools, warning that children are a vulnerable group and would be at risk unless proper measures were put in place to protect them. The medical body says any decision for a phased reopening of the country must be based on clear evidence of a favorable epidemiological pattern of the COVID-19 pandemic in Kenya. Ben Kirira reports.
Ideally, the low COVID-19 numbers reported daily are a good sign for resumption of normalcy. However, the Kenya Medical Association has highlighted that the country lacks proper data to inform resumption of learning, as the low numbers are as a result of low sample testing.
We believe our children are the future for this country and they need to be protected, and we should not use them as guinea pigs by opening schools so fast without adequate data to support that.
Resumption of the education sector will entail millions of students traversing the nation, which might lead to a second wave of COVID-19.
Pango wazi uwekwe ikiwa mlipuko katika mashule na taasisi za kujifunzia zitatokea.
The association notes that it is high time the country ramped up testing to give a clear assurance of reduced virus spread among communities.
We are not doing adequate testing. So you cannot accurately say that the political gatherings that have been happening in the last 4 weeks have not contributed to increased infections. Two, most of the public are getting asymptomatic infections, which do not necessarily need them to be hospitalized.
KMA President Dr. Were Onyino is further advocating for the setting aside of capital to cater for bills which will be incurred by students upon purchase of utilities, such as sanitizers and face masks.
We should have proper PPEs. You know, the PPEs that you are using, the mask that you are using, is not the same mask that our children will use. They need to have the pediatric range.
Ingekuwa vizuri ya kuwa na tuseme zahanati kidogo ndani ya mashule, kuwe na daktari, kuwe na muuguzi.
This comes hours before the awaited president's address come Monday, with most citizens anticipating for nothing less than a full reopening of the nation. However, through the eye of a health professional, this will come with a raft of demands that need to be met for swift operations.
We like to urge the government to recruit more healthcare workers. You have more than 1,500 medical doctors who are willing and ready to be deployed to all our facilities as we prepare to open our schools.
Improvement of human resource, among others, is a factor that has since come out severally in the call for betterment of the health sector. And with millions of lives at stake ahead of various sectors reopening, this is evidently needed now more than ever. Ben Kirera, K24, Nairobi.
All right, and it's time for us to take our first break here on the show. On the other side of this break, our conversation tonight with two legislators who could be heading home, one of them the majority leader, and indeed other members and a member of the National Gender and Equality Commission. Is it time that President Kenyatta dissolve Parliament, and might it also be politically expedient for him? We're talking after the break. Stay with us.